The last thing they're thinking about is nuclear. Now they have to put it down in writing. We were getting ready to do a very major attack tomorrow. I put it off for a little while. We've had very big discussions with Iran.
The Justice Department has confirmed it is going to create a $1.776 billion fund to pay people who claim they were unfairly targeted by the Biden administration. The Justice Department calls it the Anti-Weaponization Fund. What would you call it?
I would call it one more day in the worst presidency in American history. We cannot allow this to become the norm in America.
Thomas Massie's a terrible congressman. He's been a terrible congressman from day one. I don't think he's a Republican. I think he's actually a Democrat.
You previously told me that anyone who assaulted a police officer on January 6th should go to prison. So why not rule out giving them taxpayer-funded money?
I don't rule things out categorically when I know nothing about a person's individual circumstances. We're not making commitments to give anybody money. We're just making commitments to look at things case by case.
Do you believe that Americans' financial situations should be taken into consideration when you're making decisions as an administration about the war?
He allegedly said that he didn't care about Americans' financial situations. He never said that. When he is negotiating with the Iranians, he's focused on the national security objectives that he's trying to achieve. Thank you all. Good to see you.
The president is feeling quite emboldened about his power here and his endorsement authority in these races. I've covered the president for a long time. There are very few races that he has been so personally invested in as making sure that Thomas Massie cannot return to Washington.
How are we?
As we come on the air right now, the president has just scored a major victory in his revenge tour. That's because a top target of his fury, Republican Congressman Thomas Massie of Kentucky, has just lost his primary race to his Trump-endorsed opponent. What do you make of his loss tonight and what's to come potentially?
Thomas is a good friend, so I'm saddened just at a personal level. He put his career at risk to pass the most popular and consequential bipartisan legislation in the Epstein Transparency Act, probably in modern history. And he lost his seat because he stood up against the Iran war.
Why do you have a microphone with you?
Khalil, I have some breaking news for you. You are being awarded the 2025 Jerry Thompson Award.
Oh my God, no. No,
I
seriously?
swear to God.
Wow.
And do you know what the Jerry Thompson Award is for?
Yeah. You know, those guys were like the big time guys that I always looked up to.
Congrats.
I'm honored. Thank you. Thank you.
If I say, oh, let's look at this one or that one, they say weaponization. What they did in terms of weaponization will never be allowed to happen in this country again. We think that anybody involved in that process should partake. And you're talking about peanuts compared to the value.
Tonight, CNN presses Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche on why the administration won't rule out taxpayer-funded payouts for those who assaulted cops on January 6th.
The commissioners have a bunch of factors they have to consider. Expenses, how much money they want, what the claimant did. President Trump, this Department of Justice does not stand for assaulting law enforcement. The kind of fake outrage at this because there's a handful of folks who might apply. By the way, nobody's received money.
Do you agree with the Acting Attorney General there that this is how Americans want their taxpayer dollars to be spent?
Over half of Americans that are living paycheck to paycheck. That's got to be at the forefront of every single House and Senate member's mind. For that and many other reasons, I am completely objecting to this, and I'm going to do everything I can to fight it.
Are you losing control of the Senate Republican?
I don't know. I really don't know. I can tell you, I only do what's right.
How would your bill stop the president and the Justice Department from doing what they're trying to do here?
It's a very simple one-paragraph bill, and it just says you can't do this. There's a reason we have checks and balances. Presidents or their administrations, sometimes they do things that are really dumb.
They want very much to make a deal. So far, they haven't gotten there. Either that or we'll have to just finish the job. Howdy, howdy. Today, here at Arlington, a very special place. We honor those who fell so that our republic might stand. This Memorial Day, we salute them, we exalt them, and we thank them for all that we have and for all that they gave.
If you're wondering what on earth is happening on the South Lawn behind me right now, that is not construction of President Trump's new ballroom. That is actually the construction ahead of the UFC fight that is scheduled to take place here on June 14th. It's part of the events that are leading up to America's 250th birthday on July 4th. That will be held, though, on Flag Day here at the White House, which is also the weekend of President Trump's birthday. Still top of mind when the president and his cabinet are all gathered around the table for tomorrow's cabinet meeting will be Iran. The president has said he is in no hurry to make a deal, though Secretary of State Marco Rubio has said we could see one potentially within days. Bye, Bert. Wow. Great job. The final polls have just closed in the state of Texas. CNN can now project that the Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton will defeat the incumbent Republican Senator John Cornyn. It's a huge win for President Trump, who upended this race in recent days by endorsing Paxton and declaring that Cornyn, who has served in the Senate for 24 years, was not loyal enough to him.
Hey, Caitlin, how's it going?
I'm good.
Only about the Knicks, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, cool.
You know, your first year as mayor and this happens.
I can take zero credit.
They actually have not been to the finals since you were 7 years old. Did you ever think that you would see a Knicks finals run during your first year as mayor?
You know, I prayed for it. I hoped for it. We're excited. It's truly an incredible time to be a New Yorker.
Negotiating on fumes. We'll see what happens. Maybe we have to go back and finish it. Maybe we don't. They thought they were going to outweight me. You know, we'll outweight him. He's got the midterms. I don't care about the midterms. Look what happened last night. That was the prelude to the midterms.
There is this tentative deal that seems to be coming out of the diplomatic negotiations that we know have been underway between the United States and Iran and the various mediators here.
If you really want to get a question, you can call me Dr. Besson.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. I have two questions for you, but just to follow what you said about the
Well, you didn't call me
$250
doctor, so I only get one.
Well, I'll shoot for two. You said that it's up to Congress if the president's face is on a $250 bill, but it is actually the Washington Post that's reporting two political appointees from the Treasury Department who have asked agencies to be ready to do that.
What it says is Treasury is following the law and that we've created the bill and that it's up to Congress. We prepare for everything if it gets passed.
Politically, do you think it's a good idea, though, when people are struggling to afford gas and groceries?
I don't think that there's anything untoward about having the person who was President of the United States on the 250th anniversary bill.
The $1.8 billion fund. Is it accurate that the general counsel at the Treasury Department resigned over that?
I will not be taking any other questions. I will not be taking any other questions. So.
Tonight, the United States and Iran just reached a tentative deal, but will President Trump sign off? Even if it's a temporary framework, would you welcome that?
We are in a much worse situation right now than we were before the war started. It was a wag the dog expedition for Donald Trump, who wanted to distract from the Epstein files. This is a terrible deal because it was a terrible decision by the president.